Rotten, it feels bad. Welcome back, Internet. We're going to be talking more D&D stuff.
Hi.
That's your boy JD, and I'm Ryan. First and foremost, thank you for stopping by. Feel free to like and subscribe if you like our content. We would much appreciate that.
Or dislike if you don't like it,
Or thumbs down if you
whatever.
think we suck. We're okay with that too.
But if you do, I would at least ask, leave something in the comments.
So we can work on it to get better.
Exactly.
Not like you suck, and I'm not going to tell you why. Sorry, Hutch came through. That's my bad. Anywho, also, we stream every Sunday on Twitch at 4 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/Dungeons and Dopes.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're talking about that, this Sunday that just passed, we did have a really, really awesome charity stream for Extra Life, where we actually met our goal
in one night.
But we're also going to go ahead and we're going to do another one this following Sunday. And we're just going to say to hell with it. And we're just going to try to double that goal at this point.
See how far we can make it.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, let's get into the video.
Okay.
Let's talk spells.
Actually, let's talk specifically spell saves. Ranged attack spells or melee attack spells are literally the same thing as, oh, you have a bow, or oh, you have a weapon. Here, go hit something. You have the same chance because it's based off your spell modifier instead of your melee or ranged modifiers, so you usually have a pretty good chance with those. Those don't miss that often. If they do miss, you would have missed with whatever you were using anyway. Spell saves, though, they're interesting, and I don't want to say they're unbalanced, but they are at least skewed.
The exact word I was going to use, man. Well played.
But yeah, let's talk about that, because I know you have problems with it. It's come up a handful of times, and yeah.
All right, so here's my opinion, and officially playing my first, I mean, it's technically a caster, but it's kind of like a hybrid, so I'm playing a warlock right now. But even just after having conversation with like other players that are playing like sorcerers and wizards and stuff like that, it is, in my opinion, and internet, please let me know how you feel about this, that spell saves are skewed in the benefit going to the DM side. The reason I say that, from my personal experience, just as my warlock, between like going from level 1 to level 3, it seems like every single time I cast a spell versus whatever monster that we're going against or whatever enemy, I would say about a 75% fail rate on pretty much every spell that I cast, if not higher.
I think it's closer to like an 80-85%.
And it just seems like when you go in, right, and if you spec the best you can, and let's say, like, again, for my warlock, like I started off with a 19 in charisma, or was that 18? It was 18. So like right off the bat, my DC I think was at 15, I believe. At 15, I'm pretty sure it was 15. 8 plus charisma, so plus
8 and 4 is 12, and 2 would be 14.
14. So at 14, I was off by 1. Now I'm at 15, which doesn't make much difference. But the problem is that seems like it's kind of low in rolling against something that's going to have a +4 or a +5 to whatever check that you're rolling on, which leads me to, as a player, to try to kind of work the system, right? Or try to pick the spells that JD was just talking about that are more attack based, which is what I've done. And most of my spells at this point come off of ranged attacks because I'm a ranged attacking warlock, so I'm more likely to hit minus the save.
And it's interesting. You go and you start looking through things, you'll find, I think, unless you get into some of the bard spells, 95% of the spells are dex, wisdom, and a handful of constitution saves, and that's it. There aren't really any strength saves, or there's very few. There's not really very many intelligence saves or charisma. Like, it's all just anything that's an explosion or an AoE is a dex save. Anything that's any kind of mental charm or anything like that is a wisdom save, and that's it. And it's a little bland, in my opinion, and I like trying to spruce it up on my end and be like, oh, hey, I need you to make a intelligence save because this thing is whatever, or a strength save because it's trying to move you with its. I don't know. It's just. It's really disappointing to look at it and have this giant list of spells, and every other one
But
is.
you're only rolling like 3 of the saves most of the time.
Right. Make a dex save. Okay. Make a dex save. Okay.
Make
Oh,
a
hey.
wisdom save.
I need you to make a
Constitution
save.
save.
I'm just gonna make a dex save. Let me know what it was in a minute. Right? Like it's
super
all
true.
just one or the other almost, and it just.
And it
Kinda
kind of
boring.
almost, yeah, I agree. And it kind of almost kind of like forces you as a player to go through, kind of like I was mentioning about finding those niche spells that are like, well, oh, whoa, this one's a charisma check. Oh, wow. Okay. Or, oh, this one's cool. Constitution, hit or miss. But it really, like, you're sitting there and you're just like, man, I got this super rad spell that I just got. And I just want to I want to surprise the players, and I want to surprise the DM, and I want to just show them what it's capable of. Okay, I cast spell blah blah blah. Okay, what is that? That's a dex save. Okay, what's your spell save DC? 15. That's a 24.
Yeah. Because they have a plus, I don't know, +4, and they roll anything remotely decent. It really does feel like there's a 70 to 80% fail chance on it most of the time.
I have a question for you. So, in my opinion, I think one small fix to that, or one adjustment, I guess would be the better opinion, is per raw, if the DC is met, it's a success.
Yes, meet
Like
or
if
beat.
it's a tie, a success. Exactly. So, why not just give the player that one extra, right? And just let them, if it's a meet, right? I don't know, roll off maybe. Like, dude, Saber Lock would be a perfect example. Or Force Lightning.
Yeah.
Like a
Even
struggle.
Even at that, not even then, because it's one of those. Armor class is the same way. If you meet the armor class, or if you beat the armor class, you succeed. But that doesn't make sense in my head, because why would it not be you have to beat it no matter what? Why would it not be one above that? Because your armor class should be the amount of armor, the amount of dodge that you have total.
And you want to outroll that number.
You have to be above that. I always tried to give it that extra one, because that one can make a difference sometimes.
I agree. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and if you're taking spells, I highly encourage you to at least take something that if they do succeed, they still take half.
Yeah, yeah.
Because stuff
Because
like
the
Toll
all or
the
nothing
Dead
sucks.
Toll the Dead. It's a cantrip. I want to say it's a save, but it may even be an attack. But if you miss, or if it doesn't succeed, nothing happens. And it's so disappointing to go, oh, well, I just wasted all of my main action to do absolutely nothing.
I totally understand like the high risk, high reward factor, right? Like there's got to be a trade-off. But like,
yes and no.
As a caster that I'm playing right now, with such limitations on what they're able to do as far as their spells go, it's not that it's not fair, but I feel like I teeter one lines like it's kind of a little boring in my opinion. To after I've gone through, okay, I can cast 2 spells. All right, I cast my 2 spells. Okay, now all I have as a cliche warlock, which we've tweaked, which makes it a little bit more fun. Elder Splash, Elder Splash, Elder Splash, Elder Splash, Elder Spear. And it just you become a one-trick pony.
Well, even as a wizard or a sorcerer, depending on how the game is being run, if you're doing 3-4 combats in a day, at the end of the day, you have nothing.
You have nothing.
You're an empty tank, and you hope you have a sling or a bow or something that you can at least stand in the back and try to hit stuff from range. But
Firebolt cantrip, one-trick pony.
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, you're either on cantrips or you're on some kind of weapon, because you either are saving your good spells for whenever you need them. So you're trying, well, I don't need them for this. Let me just use this other stuff. Or you're doing enough stuff where you, at the end of the day, don't have those because you've already spent them. So now you're doing anything to scrape by.
Yeah. That's I think that's definitely something that's always in the back of kind of like a caster's mind, right? Like I have these spells that I have prepared, and I know what they're capable of, but I don't know how many more rounds or how many more combat situations we're gonna have before we get to the big baddie, where you're gonna want those. You're gonna want your stuns.
Exactly.
You're gonna want your knockdowns. You're gonna want your prones. You're gonna want your anything that you can do to put you at advantage to kind of just drop that boss down just a little bit, right?
I'm gonna step on some
And-
toes here a little bit. 4th edition handled this better than anything I've seen.
Enlighten me. I never played 4th edition.
So 4th edition, you had daily abilities.
Okay.
This was for every class. You had at will.
So that would be like once per short rest and cantrips then at this point.
At will is pretty much your cantrips.
Okay.
But it was, you have a damaging at will, you have a crowd control at will. The fighter has so many at wills, and you can take so many that you get to pick between anytime you want on your turn, and they're your actions.
Okay.
You have your short rest abilities, which you can do so many times per each short rest kind of thing. And then you have your daily, which is you get 1 or 2 of these per long rest. And everybody has access to the same amount of these and the same kind of... Everybody has their role, but everybody has 1 daily or 2 dailies or a handful of short rests or 3 to 4 at wills, and everybody has access to all of the same, not all the same ones, but as many as each other.
Okay. So, okay. Right off the bat, it already sounds like I think I'd enjoy that a little bit better because it gives you more, you're going to have more utility. You're going to have more options to do different things as a player, as to kind of what I was talking about before about kind of falling back into nice as opposed to falling back into that one trick pony situation. And
Okay.
that's more fun as a player, and it's going to allow to more kind of like creative situations that you're going to be able to run into and experience and even create as a player.
The daily spells are something like the Dread Star, 3d6 plus charisma, radiant damage, and the target is immobilized until the end of your next turn.
That's a hell of a spell.
Right. So the daily spells are these massive things that are just amazing, and they do this massive... That's a level 1, and you're doing 3d6. The 4th edition had some different HP values, and it was all adjusted differently. But still,
Okay.
it's this huge spell that has this huge impact.
And you can use it once a day.
You use it once a day.
Okay. Now, based off of how it is now with the spell slots for the Warlock,
Mhm.
were those different in 4th edition as well?
That was it.
That's the only difference?
No, that was it. That was what you got. You got creating a Warlock. Suggested at-will powers, you take 2. Encounter powers,
Okay.
you take 1. Daily power, you take 1. That's it.
So right off the bat, as a level 1 Warlock, you're basically getting 4 spells.
Mhm.
Okay, so that means
2
they ended up
cantrips, 2
changing-
spells.
Okay, so that's basically kind of what they would have started tweaking then come 5th edition would be the invocation,
Right.
which is kind of hodgepodging that stuff together. And then your cantrips, which the daily or the encounter-based one, cantrips became,
Right.
or what was, I should say, the encounter-based ones.
Wizard, from my recollection and what I remember, got the same amount. Yeah, okay. Daily and utility spells as a wizard. Your spellbook holds your daily and utility spells. You begin knowing 2 daily spells, which you can use on any given one. You can use 1 per day. And then I want to say as you level up down the road somewhere, you get more. But everybody started with that. That was everybody's starting point. Fighter had that as a starting point. It made it to where wizards and sorcerers weren't this big spike damage. Their cantrips were very controlling, very set up the battlefield and stun lock or slow down enemies and that move people around and that kind of thing. And while the fighters and the rogues were in there just beating face, and it was really interesting. I thought it was more dynamic, and it was much more oriented toward combat than 5th edition is.
That must have been when monks used to be really good too.
No,
No, they sucked then.
No.
3.5 good?
3.5 good.
Sorry, monks.
I don't think monks were bad in fourth edition. I don't remember. Fourth edition is where I fell in with the warlock and just absolutely loved it. I don't think they were bad, but that being said, there didn't. Fourth edition was very. Nothing was bad. Everything had a role to fill. You needed a healer because you were going to be in combat, and the healers could keep you up. You needed a frontline fighter to soak damage and to position people and to move enemies around and protect allies. You needed some control to keep it. It was a much more tactical combat.
You can,
People
through my
hated it.
experience, yeah, I was like, you can do that within fifth edition, but right, it might not always have you might not always have that party set up the way you want, right?
Yeah.
And kind of like we were talking about in session zeros and a couple videos back, we're like, all right, I'm playing this class. This is what I'm capable of. So this is how I'm going to play this. Okay, you're this fighter, so you should play that and this, that, and the other. So you can make it tactical, but at the end of the day, it's all going to be dependent on what skills, what feats, and what spells you've taken in 5th edition to kind of, make it work.
So 5th edition is 3.5 light. It's 3.5 if you took all the numbers and just narrowed it down and whittled it down to its core essential and made it a narrative game. It's the reason a lot of people say that combat in 5th edition is just boring. But that also falls.
It's boring.
It falls on the DM a little bit. If you run it straight from the book, it's a little boring.
I can see it. Like, I mean, I said it earlier. Like, I can feel it kind of getting boring. Like once you've burnt all your stuff out, or a little repetitive.
Yeah.
But I think what keeps me going, even in those situations, is just playing with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And just having the time to sit down and laugh and make jokes about us making a silly decision, or all right, I'm gonna get stupid, hold on to your butts.
Right.
And coming up with those weird situations like, all right, I'm gonna try something. Well, what are you trying to do? All right, this is what I'm gonna go for.
Yeah.
That's an interesting use. That okay, I'm gonna allow it, or that's not gonna happen.
That doesn't work. Yeah, 5th edition is very much designed to be a narrative focused game. 3rd edition was designed for power gamers to just get in and crunch numbers and make weirdly over the powered wild stuff that could just wipe the floor with anything you put in front of it. And 4th edition was designed to be take your character and plug it into anybody's campaign at that level and you're fine. And very tactical tabletop combat, to where it's, oh, the fighter's going to move this person 10 feet this way, so they are in this attack, so then this person can come in and flank, and this person, like, it was all very,
this knockback is going to push them right by you, so boom, you can hit him with
it was
okay.
It's like D&D chess almost. It was weird and it was fun and it was neat, but
But I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due with 5th edition, and I'm aware that a lot of people kind of have like their frustrations and stuff with it. But one thing that 5th edition did for a lot of people is it makes the whole game a little bit more welcoming and understanding for newer players. It
does for sure. And that's, I'm running the game we're running. I'm running 5th edition like it's 3rd edition. So every couple encounters, here's some magic items, or here's some tech items that do this, essentially a magic items equivalent and stuff. And it's go play, and I'm giving you this kind of stuff so I can throw harder things at you and use. Oh, you're level 5? Cool. Let me throw a level or a CR like 10 to 11 Hydra at y'all, and y'all figure it out. One person went down and everything's fine.
True. Thanks to the donations that helped us in that fight.
A little bit, but I mean, even going into it knowing that y'all were going to get a round or two of instant crits, I could have thrown more stuff, like some chaff
right. You
in
can
there and
balance
stuff,
that. You're like, okay, I know they're going to hit for this, that, and the other, so let's let them have their fun. But then once they're gone, it kind of fell back to a traditional combat kind of scenario.
And it was still, you got to figure out like you got to make the tough call and leave him down to finish the fight, or you can just deuce or whatever. And it was a running fifth edition with the knowledge of previous editions and having played in third and played in fourth and DM'd in both and everything. It gives you a lot of options to be able to say, okay, this fifth edition is good. It's a good starting point. Let me open it up.
Maybe we should play 3.5 sometime.
Maybe you should base your one shot on 3.5.
Oh God.
But that being said, we do have a couple one shots coming up for holidays in the next couple months. For the different people who have never DM'd before are going to be doing one shots. But for now, we'll talk about that. Maybe next week we'll talk about building your one shot a little bit. But for this week, that's a little bit of a conversation about spells and action economy and just the different styles of the different D&D editions over the years. And I've been JD. That's Chambo. Catch us next week, Sunday at 4 on Twitch, or check out some of our other videos down there somewhere. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see y'all soon.
And before we close out, again, this Sunday, we're doing our last Extra Life stream. Please, if you can, stop by, hang out. If you can't donate, that's fine. Come by, say hello. We've got some really good people that are starting to kind of fill up our little community, which is pretty sweet. And we'd love to have you. Until then, catch you later.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
And we're out.